Welcome to our podcast, Inspiring Living, with me, Mark Candelaria. I am an architect, blogger, traveler, chef, father, and husband. I am the founder and now partner of a fabulous 20-person architecture firm specializing in high-end residential architecture, designing amazing homes across the country. We have hosted tours over the last 20 years to Italy, Spain, and soon Napa. And in the course of all this, I have met a lot of interesting people who truly inspire me. We are excited to now be in our second season, and our podcast is about all the opportunities that are right there in front of us to inspire living. Yes, we will talk about architecture and design, but every week we will venture to all sorts of topics that will inspire you, teach you, and motivate you to inspire living every day. My guests will include a wide gamut of amazing people, from those in the design industry to clients to real estate professionals, chefs, artists, sports figures, and philanthropists, and people who just flat out get it. So sit back and enjoy, and let's have some fun exploring all the opportunities that are there just waiting for us. Please subscribe and get ready to be inspired every week. Okay, as my dad says, here we go. Because Inspiring Living is all about the people and the organizations that inspire us, we are excited to have Monogram Appliances as one of our sponsors. Anytime we do a new kitchen or a kitchen remodel, Monogram Appliances are what we recommend to our client. Their appliances are the definition of luxury, meticulously detailed using the finest materials and an ownership experience that is second to none. This is how Monogram is always thinking ahead and inspiring and elevating the kitchen experience. Because at Monogram, they don't just elevate one thing, they elevate everything. Welcome, everyone, and thanks again for listening to our podcast, Inspiring Living. Welcome to Season 2, and today I have a very fun podcast featuring two very special friends who many of you in the Scottsdale Arcadia PV world know, Russell and Erika Dickey. We will talk about their work in helping the Navajo Nation in northern Arizona deal with the COVID-19 pandemic, and just some good banter with Isabel and I, reflecting on our tours to Italy and Spain together with these two very special people. I want to give a big thank you to all of you who have been listening to our podcast as our listeners keep growing nicely. Thank you also for the ratings and reviews. I really appreciate those. And here's the deal. The first review we get, dated October 28th or later, will receive a free Candelaria collection pasta maker. So give us some love on those ratings and reviews. They really, really help us make a big deal. So give us those reviews, you guys. Get that pasta maker and start making some great pasta. Okay, we do our best to inspire living in everything we do, from our podcast to our cooking classes to our tours, and of course with our Candelaria design homes. Okay, have a great week, everyone. Make sure you get out and vote, stay safe, and let's all live our lives with love, compassion, grace, and positivity. Okay, here we go. All right, so tonight we are with a wonderful group of people, two of my dearest friends, and we've been trying to do this podcast for about 6 months. Every time we get together, we get distracted with a bottle of wine, some good food, and it's taken us at least an hour to move from the kitchen to the little podcast area here in our library. And we're still not sure if this is actually going to happen, but you're all a part of it now. And I've got Erika and Russell Dickey, who are, like I said, two of my best friends. I've got Isabel here.
Hi there.
There's Isabel. Say hi, Erika and Russell.
Hi, Mark and Isabel.
There we are. We've got them. We are actually.
I'm Russ. Yeah, sorry.
We're actually doing this podcast. I can't believe it. Fourth time is the charm. So these two, many of you know these two. They are very involved in the community. They are fabulous, fabulous people. They care a great deal about so many things. Russell has been recently involved. Actually, they're both recently involved. He's a co-founder of the relief efforts for the first responders on the Navajo Nation, which we'll talk about a little bit here in the beginning. And he's been involved with other charitable organizations, including being the executive director of the Greater Arizona Christian Community Foundation, co-founder of the ASU Game Changer Legacy, on the board of the Arizona Urban Youth Ministries, on the development board of Elevate Phoenix, which I'm very involved in, which is another great group that's having a big event here in a couple weeks. And he is, let's see, what else? Luncheon speaker for another good friend, Mr. Jimmy Walker's Never Give Up at St. Vincent's de Paul. Okay, so just that list alone just exhausted me, right? How do you do all that, Russell?
Exactly. That's
I think maybe one of those was not accurate, but that's
That's
okay.
okay. That we're
That's
known for
okay.
our inaccuracy, so no problem there.
We're not known for it.
So you gave me this list, so
Oh,
I'm
did
just
I give you
following.
that list?
I
I
just
don't know.
following. I'm just following what I got off either from you or the internet or my daughter Tiffany. But it all sounds damn good.
Tiffany's a good researcher,
yeah,
so I would not
it all
go
sounds
against
really,
her.
really, really good.
Okay.
So it's so fun to have you guys here. Like I said, this is the fourth time we've tried to do this.
Okay.
Last time we tried to do it at your house, and then you brought in this amazing chef, Simone Loren.
Simona.
Simona
Chef
Loren.
Simona Loren.
Oh my God! So we got totally distracted. She cooked us this like 5-course gourmet dinner, and we never podcasted. I mean, why would we podcast after that,
No.
right?
Well, we made every attempt, and we even said we were going to afterwards.
Well, we tried to do
with the whole group, and
yeah.
we had every. I just think the dinner was so amazing, and then we just called it a night.
We called it a night. But here we are tonight. We are making a very concerted effort to actually record this podcast, aren't we?
This is going to be great.
This is going to be great.
It is.
We're 1 week before the election. We've tried to do all of our political talk off mic, so that we don't offend anybody, because we want everybody to love us. We've had some good wine. We've had some good tacos. It's Taco Tuesday.
That's
and
right,
and we're very happy, right?
I'm happy.
You're happy, Isabel?
Yeah.
Isabel's happy, so that's all that really matters right now. The cats,
Happy wife, happy life.
the happy
you know
life,
that
happy
one.
life, right? So okay, so let's get a little focused here. We are going to talk about your mission, which is this whole thing with the Navajo Nation that you did during this COVID thing. The COVID numbers are rising again throughout the whole country, including Arizona.
True.
And tell us a little bit about your mission. What prompted you to do this? What caught your eye that you thought, you know what, I need to step up? Because one of my big things we talked about before this whole thing was, some people can just post crap on the internet and, I think about this, blah, 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 but no one ever does anything. Well, you actually did something, Russell. So I want to hear about that.
Well, Erika did too as well. But
Yes.
It was really started with a connection really from my mom, who had passed away in August of 2019, and for the annual fundraiser for HERD, which is a moon dance several months later, a young lady came up to me and said, in essence, your mom helped mentor me to be on the board of trustees for the HERD, and she was a Navajo, and she had gone to Stanford and had since come back to Phoenix. And so we just started talking because there was that connection, and we kept in touch with her and her husband, and was a world champion hoop dancer, and so she gave us the lowdown. We went to the hoop dance together, and she gave us the lowdown on hoop dancing, and then heard that her and her mom were starting to make masks at the very beginning part of COVID.
Right.
And then as it got worse, we kind of talked with her about, said, hey, why don't we? She was sending up a van load of masks with
Right.
a friend that she knew, Lewis. And so we
So
said,
what month was this roughly?
this is April.
So right when it was just like really hitting.
Mid-April is when
Yep.
we started the shipments. And
Okay.
and so we just said, as long as you're going up there, let's see if we can buy other supplies other
Right.
than, find out what they need for first responders. And as long as he's going up there, let's start buying as much as we can. Let's raise money. Let's do GoFundMe.
Yep.
Very organic, very grassroots.
Beautiful.
Well, I wanted to mention, Mark. I don't know if you know this part of the story because we're here.
Yep.
One of the connections, and I don't know if we've told you, of how we ended up getting all of the supplies is because of you. So I had previously been connected to Shamrock Foods through, I know Norm McClelland
Yep.
and his sister, but on the Italy trip in 2014, you introduced us to Phil.
Yep.
And Phil
One of
had
my best
mentioned-
friends.
Exactly. You
Yep.
and Isabel and Renee. And because of Phil, and I hope that I've told you this before, I don't know if you know the story, Russ said, well, let's call Phil and see if Shamrock can help us get supplies, because at that point we were wanting sanitizer, just anything we could get a hold of. So because you introduced us to Phil and we gave him a call, or Russ called him, Phil said, well, we have the Shamrock store. Why don't you call? But because he gave us the in, that manager helped us get supplies. And when trucks would come in, he was nice enough to give us a heads up when sanitizer was going to come in and gloves.
Yep.
And we would quickly drive down there, buy the product, load up our our cars and then wait a couple days or hours for the shipment.
Right.
So we have to thank you for the Italy trip in
Yep.
2014, for the introduction that then caused us to go to Shamrock. Then Phil gave us the introduction to the manager, and that right there is what gave us the ability to get a hold of Clorox, gloves, and the
Isn't that
actual
crazy?
product that we needed to take to Navajo Nation. And because we had the in to get product, friends said, well, we want to help. And what they could help with was money because we knew how to get a hold of the
Right.
product.
Right.
And Ginger and Javier, the co founders, knew how to get it to the appropriate people in the nation. So, Mark, Isabel, you have a huge hand in making this happen to help the Navajo Nation in
That's
Arizona.
awesome. Well, I remember when Russell, you called me that one afternoon and said, "Hey, do you think Phil Giltner would be interested in helping us out?" And I said, "Well, yeah, let me talk to him."
Mm-hmm.
I called Phil, and I remember him instantly saying, "Absolutely, let me talk to Russell. We'll put this together and we'll get this thing going." And I don't think it took more than a day or two to kind of connect all the dots, and off we went. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
I had very little to do with that other than having a great time in Lake Como with you two. But thank God that's where it all goes, and that's why I love doing those kind of things. And so, with what you've been doing in the Navajo Nation, I mean, is that still going on? Are you still doing that sort of thing? Because it's getting bad again, right?
It just started here recently, like a lot of places, spiking up.
Yeah,
Kind of going back at the height, it was 7 to 10 times worse
yeah.
than Arizona, and it really the stories were really riveting and very difficult.
And it's probably
Yeah.
because they live in close quarter. I mean, even though they're in the Navajo Nation with vastness, but where they all live multi-generational in very tight quarters, correct?
Yes, and also a myriad of factors.
Yeah.
One of them being the lack of health infrastructure,
Yeah.
water infrastructure. I mean,
Obesity.
there's all kinds of things. It's been written about in all the articles. It's a
Yep.
multitude of factors, and so we're hoping that uh, we can help stem some of this. We're focused on the first responders, not
Yeah.
every single person.
Yeah.
So we have our niche,
There's only so much you can do.
and we've kind of we took a pause for a while. There were no new cases, which was a wonderful blessing.
Right.
But as it spikes up, we have to figure out how to raise money.
Yep. And do it again.
And how to source and what they need, and things are always changing. Supply side, things are always changing, and demand side. And then I know that the members of the team always they did a great job of sending things to places that were more remote because they had heard of needs.
Right.
And they would find a way to have Lewis and other people get them out there to places that were, like Navajo Mountain.
Yeah. I've driven through there because I
have?
drive home to Durango. I grew up in Durango, so I always drive right through the heart of the Navajo Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never really spun off on any of the side roads, but
Yeah.
I mean it's a vast area
It is.
of nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much space out there, but it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful country.
It is. We after Russ and I got married, we actually did a drive up and stayed up at the reservation and did Chinle and
Oh,
everything. So
cool.
we've seen and woken up to
Yeah. The
just
beauty.
the vast lands and beautiful and everything. But when Russ was saying that as we were sending supplies up there and we started seeing the numbers go down in Navajo Nation, they were spiking up in the White Mountain Apache.
Interesting.
And so our group, being as small as we are, we were able to also shift
Yep.
and then help
Over there.
White Mountain Apache.
That's great.
Because we kind of felt it was heading in that direction. And then for a while we thought, okay, we've worked ourselves out of a job.
No, I think it's starting up again.
And then we about 2 weeks ago, we kind of got the feedback from our friends being told, oh, it's happening again. And then we kind of said, well, what could we do? And then we've been sending some supplies up, and then we put out a call to raise a little bit more money.
Good for you.
And so we're just kind of monitoring it right now because
Yeah,
we want to
so
help where
we'll
we can.
get the links and we'll put it on our story notes so that people that are listening to this podcast can make a donation to you guys, because what you're doing is so grassroots, it's so hands-on, and I love stuff like that. I hate where there's all this bureaucracy and like 10% of your money actually goes to the cause you're trying to donate to. You're what goes to you goes to these people and really goes to helping them directly. So
It's 100%
congratulations for that.
volunteer, and the other thing is that a lot of our team members have been great at getting extra donations, so it's kind of like a multiplier. It's even more than no administrative cost.
Yeah.
I mean, the donations have been amazing. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And just in addition, individuals have reached out and said, well, what could we provide? One really neat thing that one of our other members, Christy Vizolis, through our contacts, a quilting group
Yeah.
contacted and said, we have these quilts that we want to donate. And from that, the group had decided that individuals that have had family members pass away from COVID or their elders would be the recipients of the quilts. So our team members, we have not been part of the distribution they have, and they've been visiting elder homes and dropping off these quilts of love.
That's awesome.
To let them know that they're embraced. So in addition to some of the sanitizers and everything that they need for the ambulances and firefighters and everybody, there's also been that side of love.
Right.
And that those are just groups coming to us and saying, can we send these to you, and then you can distribute them. So it really also took a really side of, love and appreciation, and we really appreciate those groups.
And I love the two of you first and foremost. I mean, you guys are the nicest people. Every time we get together with you, we're just like, why can't we spend more time with them?
We have so much fun with you.
And so,
and we love both of you.
Well, what my point is here is, yeah, it's easy to go out and riot and tear shit down and burn things and tear statues down. I don't get that. I mean, what I get is what you two are doing is something positive, is taking something that's going to make a real difference in someone's life, no matter what your belief is, whatever your political persuasion is. It's you're doing something that's positive, okay? This bullshit of tearing crap down, and it's what? For what? It doesn't do anything. So I totally commend the two of you. I absolutely love the fact that you're taking something that takes energy, takes effort, it takes passion, it takes commitment, it takes effort. I mean, it's something you guys believe in, and it doesn't care what political persuasion you are.
I think that's what I was going to say, is that regardless of which political party wins in any of these areas, the way to build our community is always going to be how we work together.
Exactly.
In fact, it isn't easy to do that. Many of the issues to work together and say, here, we want to, this, and so I wanted to add a little bit to that, the quilt thing that Christy had secured for us. It's actually after the Sandy Hook incident, there were quilters in the Sandy Hook that actually had called Quilts to Heal, and they were sending those quilts to places that had natural disasters, and they sent just contacted her and sent 150 quilts to the Navajo to be distributed to the Navajo Nation, because they felt the pain of those loss.
Yeah.
And it's very humbling to see that too.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to say is, like, instead of taking the hate and anger that you might feel, is try to figure that how do I transform that energy into something that's going to be positive and make a difference, right? I mean, I have anger, I have hatred, whatever, towards things that I think that's ridiculous, but it's like transform that into something that's going to make a difference, not something that's going to tear something down.
Agreed. And
Right?
and from the beginning, when we were working with this group, when we spoke to the founders, and we have the 4 founders, we decided this mission needed to be non-bipartisan.
Perfect.
Because we were doing this because of COVID. We were all learning together. We were in an election year, and we knew that it could go every direction. And as a team, the group is split 50-50 politically.
Yeah, well,
And
that's
yet
normal.
we come together and do all this, and we put politics aside because we know it's helping. But we made that decision to say, this group is non-bipartisan.
Right.
Let's not bring politics in, because this is
We have a
about
mission. Let's
helping
just do
and
it.
helping people, and it's a mission.
Yep.
And so that was all really important to us, and I'm really glad that we established that early.
Yeah.
So as we went forward, because when we started doing this in April, we hadn't had all the riots yet. We didn't know that was coming the next month. So knowing that it became so political and so heated and everything, it was nice that we had already kind of built that foundation, that it was about helping
Exactly.
and put everything else aside.
Well, you guys are amazing, and I commend you for doing that. And whatever we can do to support you in your efforts going forward with this whole mission, we definitely have to do. So I'm so glad that we finally did this podcast. It's like it took forever because we always have so much fun. But here we are, and what I want to do now is talk really quickly about some of the good times that we've had. So I think the first time we really, really met, and I'll let Isabel kind of pipe in here a little bit. The first time we really, really met and got to spend time with you guys and know you guys was on our 2014 Italy trip, which you mentioned is where these dots originally started emerging. But it was the trip right after our wedding, the year after our wedding. And what a great time to spend, 2 weeks in Italy.
It was so fun.
Did we have fun?
We had so much fun.
We had a great group with the Giltners. We had the Stockets.
Mm-hmm.
We had Rebecca. We had Bernadine.
Gisela. We had Julie, and we had Kim.
Yeah, Kim. And we had Joan.
It was so fun.
And Sandra.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joan and Sandra. That was our group.
I mean, it was definitely a spirited group. A lot of really cool, strong personalities, but everybody meshed. I think we were talking about it earlier. You said it just wouldn't have been our trip had not all those different personalities been on the trip.
Oh, exactly. Looking back, everybody needed to be on that trip because it each added really funny stories to the mix and everything. It was perfect synergy.
Yeah, there was like a complete mixture of personalities, right? I mean, you had everything.
It was so diverse.
Remember our drive from the house? Well, we none of us can forget the beef stew. I mean, we talked about the beef stew night, which people listening to this like, what the hell are they talking about beef stew?
By now, it's a legend.
I don't think you've had that on any other trip.
No. So basically what it was is we start the trip in Florence. We have this amazing bistecca fiorentina in Florence with these giant steak. Well, instead of ordering just one and sharing it with 12 of us, however many there were, we ordered like 12 of them.
Cool. I mean, they were like the size of
Fred Flintstone steaks.
Correct, like 2 bricks, and somehow they would say 2 bricks feeds 2 people.
Yeah.
No, it feeds 10 people.
Yeah.
And
So we ate one steak and we had like 6 left over.
Correct.
And so then it was like, okay, we can't throw these away. So one of the ladies on the trip's like, well, we'll make beef stew when we get to the farmhouses. So then it's like, well, where do we store this damn beef steak? You know, it's like, so I had to find coolers and I had to find ice and then we brought it to the farmhouses and then we got busy. We never could make it. And we were there for the whole week. We're dragging this beef steak all over the place. And finally, on the last day in the farmhouses,
You had some, and you were the only one that had some, and I
the
can't
only one
believe
that-
that you did that because
the
we
only
were
one that-
driving 5 hours to Lake Como the next day.
I was the only one that they made the beef stew, and I was the only one that ate it because everyone was like, "This beefsteak has seen more of the trip than I have."
You had to eat it. You were the head of the trip. Come on, you ran.
I know you didn't want to let them down. That was really sweet of you, but thank goodness
It
you
was
have a
amazing
stomach
that
of iron.
they made it. I mean, if it had been the first night I was actually really happy that we didn't just leave the steaks there.
No,
so
no,
I was
we
really
didn't.
looking forward to the soup, but after I think 7 days, I was a little
leery.
worried because I kept thinking, no, we're going to Villa d'Este. I need to be in top shape.
I'm not letting the beef stew bring me down.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, but
and-
I got lucky. I was
And
fine.
no, and you were lucky. You were fine. The ladies, I mean, they knew what they were doing with their beef stew. It didn't slow us down. Can Russ tell my favorite story
Go for
of
it.
you
Go for it.
with the wedding there at Villa d'Este?
Go for it.
Russ, can you tell that story?
I'll tell it. In fact, Mark did not remember this story until I told it to him about 3 months ago. Or is it 3 or 4 months ago? He said, something happened when I was at Villa d'Este, and I forgot what I did. And I said, I remember exactly what you did. I said, we were sitting kind of in the lobby at Villa d'Este, and right next to us were, I guess, the banquet rooms. And in one of the banquet rooms, there was a wedding, and you could hear that there was wedding and music and noise, and people were having a great time. And then all of a sudden, Mark just gets up, and he opens the door to the wedding and starts singing Italian opera.
La sera prospero.
And then he just shuts the door and walks
They all
back.
clapped.
They clapped, and then he just shut the door and came back and sat down and started just like nothing happened. I'm like, and they were clapping in the back. I'm
I
like,
got a big applause. I was like, "Whoa, who was that
was-
guy?"
it was
But
It-
remember,
it
it
was-
was double doors.
it was double door.
Yeah, I
It was
split him open.
it was both spontaneous and spectacular. That's the way I describe it
Hey, it's not every day you get to sing opera in a wedding at Villa d'Este, right?
to Italians.
To Italians, yeah. I forgot about that story. That was great. We had a good time, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, what do you remember from that trip? I mean, we had some good memories, and like you said, we had an amazing group of people, and we did a lot of fun things.
Okay. My height was Saint Michel.
Yeah.
Eating at Saint Michel above Florence. Michelangelo designed.
Yeah.
It just
It's an amazing setting, isn't it?
it's incredible. It's stunning to eat up there and just see the beauty and have a
Yeah.
little cocktail party and some dinner and
It's a great way to kick off the trip.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Where I was really astonished, besides the beauty of Italy and everything, is how you have everyone in their own vehicles.
Yeah.
And we leave the farmhouse. And for those of us that didn't know how to do drop pins, we learned drop pins. And then we followed the vehicles and we went on the freeway, and you managed to get everyone parked, everyone moving, everyone, and we didn't lose anyone.
No?
I was always
No, wait
so
a minute.
amazed.
I was the only one that got lost.
But we found
Oh,
you.
you did?
Yeah, because I missed the light. I wanted to let somebody in. I wanted
I
to let
remember
somebody
that,
in, and then they ran the light, and I got stuck behind them. Yeah.
Right. But what I remember is Mark skillfully then wrapped us back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dropped you a new pin. Said you're right
dropped
here.
a new pin and then said pick up and then this, and then we all parked, and then we were in Siena.
That's only because I went through 10 years of trips with no pins because there was no phones yet. And you can imagine what those trips were like.
Oh, well, the first time I was in Italy, that's how it was.
Yeah.
It was a
Oof.
map and driving,
Yeah.
and then just
Right, read the signs
The-
on the little tiles up on the corners of
correct,
buildings.
correct.
Like, good luck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think you taught me drop pin
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
skill to have, isn't it?
completely. But you kept everybody just, and I remember thinking,
Kept us
wow,
all
this is amazing.
Yeah.
We're just all,
And then you joined us on our first Spain trip.
well,
You were on the first Spain tour.
correct. Well, it was actually, I remember we were on the Italy trip and we wanted to go to Spain
You're
next.
the
and
one that prompted the Spain trips.
I asked you, I said,
That's
Mark,
right.
would you ever do Spain? And you said maybe. And then when you said maybe and we knew there was an in, we started begging you.
Yes. And then
And we-
Isabel saying, we need to add Spain, right?
Absolutely.
We kept looking at it and we go, I think we can do it. We went 1 year ahead of time.
You went in December.
We
I
were
think.
trying to, we went in December. We were trying to find
Scouted,
we were trying to find a farmhouse setting like in Umbria. Never could find it.
But
So-
you picked La Roja, which was
Which-
that walled city,
And we went to La Guardia.
La Guardia.
Wasn't that great?
It was absolutely amazing.
So much
Only
fun.
to find out with Ancestry years later that on my father's side of the family, before they left there in 1720 to come to the New Spain, their little town was 35 minutes from where we stayed.
That crazy.
Had I known then, Russ and I could have ventured over.
See, but your DNA prompted us to create this trip that brought you right back to where your DNA was from.
Exactly. And had I been there, one of the streets, two of the streets are my family's last name.
I do have to say, Erica, in Spain, you seem so at home.
Oh, I felt like
that
I was.
just your land. You were just in your element. It was really neat to see you that way.
Oh, I loved being there. I always tell people I was conceived there and my parents moved back before I was born, but I just felt like I was in the motherland.
Isn't that crazy?
I was like, yes, this is how it should be. You take a break at the end of the day, you have dinner at 11 o'clock at night, you sleep in. I thought, this country's made for me.
It's the same way I felt when we went together with you and we were in Orvieto. And was it Orvieto? Is that the name? Yeah. So that's where all of your ancestors are from, correct?
Yeah, when I'm there, I just feel this like calmness. It's like
It's a very peaceful country.
Isn't it
yeah,
weird?
in some ways.
It's like I firmly believe this. I believe your DNA recognizes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it recognizes it, and your body is just like
I think
it's deja vu.
it knows. I think
I think it
exactly.
knows.
I think you connect
Yeah,
again.
totally. So then when we went to Barcelona, you guys ran into a basketball player, and I love that picture.
Well, the story is that we were in Hotel des Arts,
Yeah.
and
So we go from this little rustic
yeah,
hotel in LaGuardia to the most posh, beautiful hotel
cosmopolitan
in
city of
Barcelona.
Barcelona.
And who do you run into?
Well, what happened was I heard the night before from two Swedish gentlemen, which was interesting, that perhaps James Harden was
Oh,
in the
that's it.
hotel. And I looked at the guys and like, maybe, maybe not, you know. And so I didn't think anything of it. And so we went to dinner that one night. And as we got out of the van, we had our coat, jacket, suits on. And we look out there, and kind of behind these giant bodyguards was James Harden, the beard.
Yeah.
Because you can't mistake the beard.
No.
And mistake the beard. And so we get out, and so immediately Erica, because I told her that he was the number one star to come out of ASU. I didn't talk about the fact that he was either going to be one or two in the MVP voting for the NBA. She yells out, ASU. And so somehow that got us past these two gigantic bodyguards. And
Well, if
so
you're ASU in Barcelona, I mean.
yeah, I
what
think
the
he was
heck?
maybe taken aback because somebody
Yeah.
hadn't said he was from ASU in a long time. And so we get past the bodyguards, or Erica does, and we also dress nice, which probably helped. And so we were just chatting with James Harden, and we said, "Yeah, we've done some things with Gene Boyd over at ASU, and only somebody that's an athlete, because he's in student athlete development,
would
would
know
know
that-
Gene Boyd."
yep.
So we built a little rapport, all leading up to the picture. It all had
It's
to
a
lead
great
up to
picture.
the picture. The picture was a great picture.
I've got that picture.
And-
you guys sent it to me. I love that
And
picture.
the funny thing about the picture is, we were sitting there, and I thought, you kind of expect the normal. He said, "Here, give me your phone."
Yeah.
And he said, "You kind of expect the normal picture where everybody stands shoulder to shoulder, but they're used to doing selfies, but kind of close,
Yeah.
right?" So I'm trying to, kind of get shoulder to shoulder. He's pulling me in with his big arms. I'm like fighting it. I'm like, I think he was going to tell me, "Dude, this is the way we take pictures. This is going to look good. Just relax."
Well, and I think part of the problem is he was so tall and I was so short that we couldn't get in the screen
Compose
together.
right, yeah.
And so he kept squeezing us in, and then he finally took it. And so then he's like, "Oh, there you go," and he gave it back. And I remember thinking that I had a really pretty skirt on, and I thought, no, I wanted a picture from far away so they could see my skirt. My husband's like, "He took a selfie of us." He's like, "This is better."
That's so good. That's so cool. That was at the end of our trip, wasn't it? Right at the very end.
It was.
That was a fun trip. We had a good group that trip. We had Larry Perry, who I know listens to this podcast, and we had Gisela.
Can you do a Larry imitation?
What about the golf?
Well, yeah, I know that Russell and I played a little golf that day, and we kind of went a little off-roading with the golf cart and buried the golf cart. But sometimes that happens. So you never know what happens on our tours, do you?
We don't, and we know Larry was well intentioned. We made kind of.
He's always well intentioned.
We got on a bank where there was a bunch of mud. It was kind of a side hill bank, and the back right tire got bogged. So they had to come out and get us and tow it.
I'm telling you guys, you never know what's going to happen on
You
our
never
tours.
know.
Our
I
tours
have never
are
had
crazy.
that happen in my life. To have to be picked up by the golf shop.
I mean, just to golf with Larry Perry's got to be treating
just
himself.
any time with Larry Perry is fun.
That's
and,
absolutely right.
I thought I was going to say the city of San Sebastian is just
Is that the best or what?
spectacular. Yeah.
And see, what's funny is we started the tour in San Sebastian with you guys, but now we've flipped it and we end the tours in San Sebastian because it's just such a great city, isn't it?
Oh, we love that city so much that
And
we've
you guys
been.
went back, right?
We went back the next year.
Yeah.
Semana Grande.
Semana Grande, and then have we been back? Have you been back since 3 times or 2 times?
Just 2 times.
Oh, okay. So we went, and a girlfriend had told us about Semana Grande, and then when she was going to go, she said, "You need to come with us." And so she already had friends going, and we went, and it was absolutely incredible. And
It
I took
is.
my family, so we went exactly a year later, and I have basically said I want a summer
Yeah.
there.
Well, we're talking about
And
that.
we're talking, yeah.
The 4 of us are collectively talking about that. I mean, you'd love that, wouldn't you?
I think that would be amazing.
I mean, what do we like about San Sebastian? What is it?
Everything. It's you have an ocean. You have a
can
little
walk everywhere.
You could walk up the hill, and the top of the hill reminds me as if you were momentarily in Ireland.
Yeah.
The amount of greenery and moss, and then you get to the Jesus monument at the
Oh, yeah.
top, and
So
then you
beautiful.
get back down, and you just want to have one or two. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the word. The word of the bites.
Oh, tapas.
Tapas.
Pinchos.
Pinchos. That's the word I was looking for. The pinchos, and then you have that, and then it's everything about that city's amazing.
It is. And it's just so hard for me to, because I've got good connections there, and I've been following this whole COVID thing over there, and it's just gotten worse and worse and worse
Right.
again.
Just when it gets a
You
little
know?
bit better, then it spikes.
But you look at the culture. I mean,
and then
it's not COVID friendly.
it's
I mean,
because it's all love.
it's all love.
It's
You
all
get the
love
food,
and
it's all
sharing.
shared.
That's why we fit in.
Yeah.
Because we know we're going to go and we're going to have food and drink and close hugs and walking home arm in arm, and it fits.
It's an amazing place. It is. It's so good, isn't it?
And today you posted that maybe we're not doing 2021 in Italy, maybe it's 2022, and I think we're going to have to make up for it and do a jump from Italy over to Spain, maybe
Well,
then
yeah.
San Sebastian, and then fly home from there.
That's a good idea. I think if they open it up, we're doing a blitz.
Correct.
We're going to hit it all in like
Yeah,
2 weeks. Just
I think
boom,
so.
boom, 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 boom.
I think so.
Right? Wow. It's hard to imagine. And so we have an election in a week from now, you guys. So
Now we're
we're trying to keep this
It's
non-political.
getting serious now.
And we were talking about maybe getting together and watching the election next
Yep.
Tuesday,
Mhm.
and maybe doing another podcast on the election results as they come through,
Real time.
real time.
On 6 different networks.
Yeah,
at
and
one
it'd probably
time.
be late. Well, hell, if we do that, we might be here for 3 months before we get
Yeah.
to the results. Might be the longest podcast in the history of
Bush
podcasting.
versus Gore. Yeah, it could go on
Yeah,
forever.
it could go.
Oh, let's
Yeah,
not go
hanging
there.
chads, and I mean, who
Hanging
knows,
chads.
right? Hanging chads would be the least of our problems.
Yeah, I think so. If that's all we
If
have.
that's
we'd
all we
be
have to worry
happy.
about, I think we're fine. You know.
That's right.
So yeah, who knows how this is going to come down, right? I mean, this year has been absolutely insane, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we got a month to go. We got 2 months to go.
Yeah.
2 months to go. So we don't know what's to come. All I know is that the time we have spent with the two of you is so precious, and I can't get enough of it. So I hope you don't get sick of the two of us, because we want to see a lot of you in the time to come. We'll do some more podcasts because it's fun to just collectively. We kept it pretty light tonight.
We did.
And we got all the political stuff out of the way at the kitchen bar.
At the dinner table,
At
because
the dinner table.
I do love politics.
Yes, I know. And we love politics. We love economics. We love all that stuff.
All of it.
So at some point we can go deep. Maybe we'll do an analysis of the election after it's over.
That's right.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, right? So we'll see. We'll see where this all goes. We have no idea. There's no way to know how this is going to shake out.
I
Do you have any
agree. I almost
predictions?
think I do have predictions. I don't know if I want to say them on
On a podcast?
on podcast. I'll write them down, and then we can kind of say, okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody knows. I mean, I think 2016 was a good example. The pollsters had no clue.
Right. And
I don't
the
think anyone has a
pollsters
clue
are
this
even
time.
admitting that they're wondering if they have jobs in the future.
Yeah, I don't know if they do, to be honest with you. I mean, I really don't know what purpose they served if you really think about it.
But there's 2020, I think it's just so different from any year.
Yeah.
on every single level, because what we're seeing in the economy, it wasn't because of just normal economic activity.
Yeah, and you're a realtor, right?
Correct.
And you're busy.
Yeah, we're very busy.
Super busy, isn't it?
Very exactly.
Yeah.
Super busy from being in Arizona, just all the migration, and when people
So where are they
say,
coming from?
Mainly California.
Mostly California.
We're having calls from New York.
Yep.
We're just seeing the Californians jump to Texas.
Yep.
We're just seeing the moves,
Yeah, interesting.
and it's real. I mean, it's.
Oh,
not
we
a-
see it. Trust me.
Exactly.
we can't keep up. It's crazy.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wish we had up to date numbers. The numbers that we have are about 6 months off on the migration numbers. But it's going to be really interesting when the data comes in and we can
Yeah.
actually really see it.
Well, you were just interviewing someone, Isabel, who's trying to move here from California, right?
Yes, a new lead designer, because we're busy. We need somebody else. And she actually wanted to move all of her stuff, I guess, last weekend from Costa Mesa, but there is a 6-month waiting list for U-Hauls.
Well, it was interesting this summer when we were driving to Oregon and back. I could not believe the amount of U-Hauls that I saw on the freeway. We were making a joke about it.
Oh, wow.
Like every fifth car seemed like it was a U-Haul.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane. We were pulling a U-Haul. Only I was hauling my drafting table and my pasta machine and my Instapots.
Oh, right.
To
And I
Oregon.
remember seeing that trip.
Yeah, but it's great. There's a lot of people moving in. There's no inventory, is there? I mean, there's not much inventory.
Inventory is very
Very
low right
low.
now. Very low.
Yeah, I mean, if you want something nice, it's hard to find.
Or anything new.
Yeah,
Or just
no,
and there's a shift of what people are purchasing. For a while, we were working on people downsizing,
yeah,
and all of a sudden, it's space.
yeah.
It's North Scottsdale again. It's
So interesting.
areas that all of a sudden weren't getting activity. Now they're getting all the activity, and so I mean, it's
2021 is going to be an interesting year, don't you think?
it is. I think when we start really analyzing just everything that happened in our state, from
Yeah.
the numbers from our businesses and who survived, and just how our just I think what's going to be really interesting is to see the aftermath of how every state made a decision.
Right.
I think when the president basically said every state makes their own decisions, I think that was very smart, because every state does run differently,
Yeah,
and
it's
that
totally
allows our citizens to move where it fits them best.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. We happen to be in the 2020 census.
Yeah.
So with that, I don't know if all the numbers are going to be captured, but it's going to be really interesting to see the new numbers when all that comes out as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think 2021 is going to be a very telling year. I think there's going to be a lot of change. There's going to be a lot of technology that's going to advance. Maybe we'll get a vaccine. I'm not totally positive that's going to happen, to be honest with you, but we'll see.
I think there's so many companies around the world working on it all at the same time, and I think they're mentioning if they're making progress or not. So I know that the whole world is on that task.
Yeah.
So I think that that's our best
bet.
bet.
Yep. Well, thanks so much for joining us, you guys. You guys did a great job. Keep going with the Navajo Nation, what you're doing there. I know you're involved with so many other organizations, and I commend you guys for that, because we're the same way. I mean, we love to be involved. I think there's a lot of opportunities for people to get involved, and they don't take advantage of it, to be honest with you. I think it's easier to just sit and bitch and complain and post crap on Facebook and Instagram versus getting off your butt and actually doing something. So I commend the fact that you two actually do something.
Well, thank you very much, Mark, and I know you're doing a lot too with Habitat for Humanity
Yep.
and Elevate Phoenix for
Yep.
the kids in Central Phoenix, giving them hope and opportunity, and also trying to get creative with houses. And I'm sure you
Yep.
may have something in the future to talk
We
about.
got some fun things in the
Very
works, as you know.
interesting about how we can really help
Homeless and veterans and so many groups that need help.
and we can. That's the subject of another podcast.
Yeah.
We'll interview you that time. So.
I believe that that's our next shift. And so when you're saying that, sometimes people are wondering, well, how do I get involved? I think the next shift will be looking into the homeless plan and really understanding where you want that community to be, where the resources are.
Yeah.
And you're working on some really neat stuff that provides the resources for cities, and I know that that's our next venture
Yeah. It's
to
great
go
opportunities.
into, and we just need leadership to embrace it and everything like that. And Russ kind of looked at me on the side and he said, should we put a plug in for one of our friends? We live in Arcadia, and we really love Old Town because it's so close to where we live.
Yep.
And one of my good friends is running for mayor, so I just wanted to
Give a plug. Go for it.
I just wanted to put a plug in for her. I tried to not be too political, but I just want to say, vote for Lisa Borowski for Scottsdale, because I think it's in really good hands, and we're going to be able to just see, a strong Scottsdale Old Town under her leadership.
And we've had good discussions about Scottsdale Old Town, and I think the opportunities and the just what's the treasure that's sitting right there is just so incredible, And I know there's the old buildings and there's the old history and all of that stuff. I get that, But I think you got to look to the future a little bit too, and you can preserve a certain amount of it. I mean, I don't think all of it is great, to be honest with you, but I think there's enough there that can be preserved, but there's enough that we can build even better for the future, and I think we need to look forward and not just be frozen. So that's just Mark's opinion as an architect, but I think that's, I think I have something to say there. So
Well, I think when an architect drives through a arts district or Main Street, you have a lot of ideas.
yeah,
And we need, I think Lisa can give vision to that. In addition to working with Phoenix, who has some great things going
Yeah.
together. We all are in the same ship here
absolutely.
in our valley.
And that's another good thing that I see, in the whole world of our perspective is like, we got Scottsdale, Phoenix, Tempe, blah blah blah. We can look at how that all connects. But if you really think about the world now with technology and everything that we got to quit thinking about Arizona, USA, China. This world is so small right now, and it's so challenging with the things we've got to deal with in the next 20, 30, 50 years, that if we don't think a little bit globally, these things are going to consume us. And we got to start working more as a global community to solve these things, because to look at them myopically through our own little perspectives, it doesn't work, I don't think. I understand the economics of that and the cultural aspects of that and all that, but I think there's a whole other podcast we can discuss.
You'd like to bring up topics where there's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah,
I can
isn't
see
this great
this.
how I just close,
I see this. I
close
see
the
this
podcast by
trend
just
coming here.
letting this just spin out of control.
I think we've got like 10 podcasts
You're
built
bringing
up.
up one planet in a multi-dimensional universe.
That's exactly right. That's what I'm trying to talk about.
We're
It's
going
like-
to the universe
so
next. I
my
can tell.
my
We're-
theory is that in the midst of all this confusion and chaos that we're going to experience, we all know it's coming.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we all feel it.
Mhm.
We're going to be invaded by UFOs, like big time in the next. Well,
I mean, why does everyone immediately go to it's an invasion?
just looking at how Columbus kind of invaded this country, and everyone goes and takes over. So, yeah, but maybe they won't. Maybe they'll be peaceful, and
They may be here to help us.
maybe they'll be here to help us. Maybe they'll be here to
Maybe
solve
they'll
this.
be able to help
Yeah,
us.
maybe they'll be here to help us.
There are some beings out there who are helping us every day.
There you go. See, so this podcast may never have an ending.
Yeah.
It may
we
take
just
us.
went to UFOs.
it
we
might
went to the
yeah,
universe.
it might have taken us 4 podcasts to get here, but we may never end.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
All right, you guys. Well, we love you. You guys are so amazing.
Love
you
you
too.
too. And if the podcasts keep including dinner and wine
Yeah,
and fun
yeah.
stories, these are going to continue.
These are going to continue. All right. Thanks so much, you guys. I want to say a big thank you to my good friends at Stockett Tile and Granite Company, where your project is our priority. I want to thank the Stockett team along with so many others who contributed to the success of our fabulous demonstration kitchen in our new Candelaria design office expansion. You will have to check out our online video cooking classes, and our kitchen is amazing. I've had the pleasure of working with the Stockett team for nearly 40 years on many spectacular projects, and trust me, they are the epitome of excellence when it comes to tile, marble, and granite work, bar none. Their skill and customer service is impeccable, and the bottom line is they are just good people. I have traveled with, dined with, and just had good times, both personally and professionally, with Dave Stockett and his lovely wife, Becky, and they are the best. When it comes to your next tile and stone project, make sure Stockett Tile and Granite is a part of your team. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our podcast. We encourage you to write a review, screenshot it, and share it with your friends. Please instant message it to me and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We thank you for listening, and we look forward to sharing more insights to inspiring living next week.